Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kale, and Mercury is now retrograde. I just recorded a video for you. I went on a little longer than I expected, but I ended up doing a brief overview for all the 12 signs. So do watch all the way to the end, and I started with Aries and ended with Aries, so you might want to check that. And what's unfolding with this retrograde, really, with Mercury in Aquarius, Aquarius being the sign of the collective, but Aquarius also being the sign of innovation and everything that's new and inspirational. There's a sense that, you know, we're having to question and re-examine our beliefs, and because everything that we're having to question everything we once believed was true, because it's flying in the face of what's unfolding now. But because there's major changes unfolding, so but the more you can let go of your perceptions, you can make pleasing discoveries. So with that, let's just jump into the video. uh Here we go. Mercury station retrograde at 10:51 a.m., just not even a few minutes ago, uh, from my recording this. And Mercury will station direct on the 20th of February, or just 3 days after the Saturn Uranus square. And when Mercury stations direct, it will be back at the position it was on the 15th of January. So maybe look back to what was unfolding around the 15th of January, because we're recovering this territory and you'll be back at that point, at least in the sense of understanding things on a deeper level. By the 20th of February, as Mercury stations direct, and then Mercury will recover shadow and move out of shadow phase on the 7th of March, when it'll be back at the point where it is today. So pay attention to what's unfolding now, and over the next 20 days, you're getting a deeper insight into situations that have been playing out for the second half of January. And now, slowly, there's a stellium of planets gathering in Aquarius. So pay attention to where you have Aquarius in your chart, because that area of your life is buzzing and is coming under focus over February, certainly, and over the coming months. And February calls for just moving, having a lot of patience, because Aquarius is the sign of the collective. It's also the sign of the individual. And what's unfolding now, it's like there's a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas flying around, and you're going to have to be grounded and be more introspective and dive deeper inward for the truth, rather than listening, because this could be like Chinese whispers. A truth could get twisted in transit very easily. So it's important that you're now being not jumping to conclusions no matter what you hear, but keeping this, because Aquarius asks for detachment, and Mercury is the planet of communication. It rules the mind, and our mind is such that it's always, in the past or the present, or past or the future. It's rarely in the present moment. And if we think of Mercury as the planet that rules the mind, Mercury is the fastest moving planet in the sky. And so 3 times a year, when Mercury goes retrograde, it's a time for us to really slow down and realign our perceptions with reality. Aquarius is also an air sign. Uh, Mercury is a cerebral planet, and at best, Mercury, the mind itself, is, you are not your mind and you are not your thoughts. That's why meditation will be a very powerful way to ground this energy, and it's something that I would highly recommend, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Full disclosure, I mean, my meditation practice goes up and down, but I can tell you that when I try to do at least 5 to 10 minutes a day, but when I am meditating at least an hour a day, my life is noticeably different. And I don't mean in terms of just how I feel, which of course I feel calmer and better and clearer, and there's more clarity in thought and deed and action, but also in a sense of things flow easier and communication opens up, and it's easier for me to draw into my world what I want. So, because meditation, what it does really essentially is helps us to quiet the mind. And when there isn't too much mental static, then there can be mental focus, and the law of attraction is always in effect. And that's what when we're studying astrology or working with astrology, that's what we're working with in a sense, learning how to harness these energies consciously. So, Mercury, yes, it's the planet of the mind, the communication, so double check your communication. In Aquarius, technology, emails, if there's confusion now, wait for the dust to settle rather than, add to the confusion. Um, and if you hear something that upsets you, I mean, this is I'm giving you a very general overview of the transit with Mercury in Aquarius, because Aquarius, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, that's where all of this energy is playing out. Uh, the other thing is Aquarius is a fixed sign and fixed air sign, and it is a very innovative sign. So at best, if we can let go of beliefs and remain detached from our opinions and beliefs, then there can be a deeper understanding, whether it's conversations that we are having, or in terms of just being able to be open to inspiration and find new solutions to a situation where you felt blocked before or couldn't see a way forward. Uh, there's a new way around something. And sometimes it's not just what you say, but it's how you say something. So if, something you're saying is not getting through, or if you can't seem to understand something, be more patient and be willing to see things from another perspective. Let something stand on its head for a while. And sometimes, walking away from a situation, not in terms of completely disconnecting from it, but just being detached from it, and then, putting your attention to something else. Sometimes frees up that mind space where suddenly you have the answer where you didn't before. So it's that sort of energy. Also, there's a stellium of planets that is gathering in Aquarius now. So, as I mentioned earlier, there is a sense of what you're learning now flies in the face of everything that you've previously believed to be true. But it's important now that you stay in the present, because there are new doors opening. We're entering, this is a powerful year where, things that weren't, there's gates opening, and things that weren't possible before are possible. So, and when we're making very real shifts in our life. So it's important that, you let go of your beliefs. Then you can open up to a greater truth. Or, it's not about if something is possible, but the question is how you can do it. And with Aquarius, the energy is extremely innovative and inventive. And by the time of Mercury's direct station, there will be a stellium of planets in Aquarius. So the energy is begging for innovation and trying things differently. So be patient with all that's unfolding in the next, uh, between during this retrograde, because a lot is up in the air. It's a matter of now rearranging your mind and re-examining beliefs, and where you could have been arguing for your own limits, because old boundaries, or rather old doors that were shut previously shut, are no longer shut, and there's new doors opening. So it's a matter of you now letting go of your beliefs of what you think is possible, and daring to imagine a new vision. Also, what's significant is this is all happening in Aquarius, and Aquarius is a sign of the collective. So there's a sense that there can be support for a vision, and you can find the support you need for a vision. But at the same time, it's important now that you're being true to yourself and not just, you know, trying to people please in any way, or trying to fit in, or trying to, or perhaps just going along with something because you think that it's expected of you. This will require bravery and courage because the trend seems to be that, Mercury is the only one going in one direction while all the other planets are going in the other direction. So there is an important process of even questioning your own beliefs of why you think what you think. In all respects, be patient with yourself, be patient with others, and be patient as you uncover a deeper truth. And pay attention to actions rather than words, and keep an open mind. You know, keep an open, keep channels of communication open, especially if there have been misunderstandings, or if there's been miscommunication, or if there seems to be, because at the time of this retrograde, the sun is square Mars. And so there could be still a lot of tension in the air and unresolved conversations that need to happen. And honesty is important, but also compassion is important for yourself and others, and forgiveness is important. And you have to want to communicate, not just want to respond to, or rather listen to reply, or wait your turn to reply. If there's going to be true communication, you have to really allow a truth to sink in, really listen to what someone is saying, or perhaps even what someone is not saying. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words, but don't be too quick to interpret silences either. Just be patient. Most importantly, don't let your ego get involved, because that's when trouble begins, drama begins. So the more you can keep channels of communication open, you can find a way to clear the air and allow the dust to settle. And if there's something you need to say, it's best to go to the source, and which is direct one-to-one communication, or really the sources within. So by the time of the direct station, just really quickly looking at the chart, what's interesting is that all planets will be direct, including the nodes. And the nodes are rarely direct. The nodes are generally in retrograde motion. So I think it's only a couple of times a month that the nodes are in direct motion, and that too for a short period of time. I don't have the exact time frame, so forgive me if I'm wrong about that. And at the time of the direct station, on the 20th of February, Saturn will be just past its square Uranus, as I mentioned, on the 17th of Feb. And I've made a separate video about that, an overview, so do check that out on YouTube. But at the time of this direct station, the moon is exactly conjunct the North Node in Gemini. So what's unfolding now and the 20th of February, there's an important message coming through for your destiny. It's like your destiny is calling, and there will be choices to be made. And hopefully by then you're seeing that you have a lot of choices, and you have more choices than you thought, perhaps. But then, and there's a sense of destiny calling, really. So it's important over the next 20 days that you get clear on where you stand, what you want, what's true for you, and not just for you, but what's true. And for that, first, it means letting go of what you think is true, and perhaps the truths that you've been told that no longer apply. So, um, yeah, on a mundane level, I would avoid purchasing new electronics during the retrograde. That's at least my experience, or making any major purchases or commitments during the retrograde, new commitments. It's fine to renew old commitments. Um, it's just a period of review, renegotiation, and yeah, reflecting, introspection. And there is a chance to renegotiate relationships and enter a deeper understanding with others in your life. But it's also, not needing anyone's validation for anything, and not being too attached to either praise or criticism, but just constantly being in a process of examining an inner truth and checking in with an inner truth and listening to your inner dialogue, because we can lie to the world, but we can't lie to ourselves. So be honest with yourself about what you want, how you feel. um, with the Sun square Mars at the time of the retrograde station, and then at the time of the direct station, Venus will be square Mars. So this is it's passionate energy, and as I mentioned, there is tension and you know things that need to be said, and perhaps unsaid communication. But then it's also important that you stay in the present and recognize that the past is past, and the more you can, it's okay to admit your mistakes or where you might have been mistaken about something. It's never too late to change something. And in fact, right now, the more you can stay in the present, you can find a way to understand the past on a deeper level and create space for something new and for new opportunity. And yeah, there's a lot of support here. And this could be a lot of, I mean, February, it's just a lot of activity in Aquarius. So maybe I should just run through the 12 signs. I'm not, maybe I'll do a separate set of videos for that. I don't know yet. But for Aries, this is happening, this transit takes place in your 11th house, which is your um, friends and social networks. For Taurus, this is in your 10th house, which is your profession, your career, and your goals and your ambitions, and your public image. Uh, Gemini, this transit is in your ninth house. Ninth house relates with legal matters. It's asking your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs. Uh, it could be relating with travel matters, people, long distance connections. Perhaps you're reconsidering higher education. Everything, you're being asked to, open your mind to greater perspective. Cancer, this transit takes place in your eighth house, so this is a lot to do with your financial negotiation, business partnerships, as well as perhaps a marriage or intimate commitments. Um, and it's about intimacy and being able to open up and be more intimate and have intimate conversations with others and be honest about the things and allow yourself to be vulnerable and talk about the things that you don't generally open up about easily. And then there can be a deepening of understanding and even the security that you need, uh, financially as well as emotionally, personally. But also, remain detached. Of try to avoid trying to control communication, but just be open and listen to what's coming through and be willing to let go of the past so you can actually engage with things honestly in the present. Leo, uh, this takes place in your seventh house, and seventh house relates with your relationships, all your one-to-one relationships, as well as your relationships with your open enemies, so to speak. So the people you don't necessarily always get along with, but the seventh house is a mirror. So pay attention to all your communication in your partnerships, and with the stellium of planets gathering in Aquarius, uh, your relationships are definitely highlighted and you're learning to share the stage. But there's a lot for you to gain here. Next, Virgo. Virgo, this is in your sixth house. So, sixth house relates with your work, your daily life, your daily routines, your relationships with your colleagues, and your health primarily. So, this is really a chance now in February for you to get reorganized and uh, get your ducks in a row, because life is about to get really busy. Work is getting busier. So, it's you seeking the deeper meaning in your life and learning to, find what fulfills you, so you can give your time and energy to that, rather than have things pull on your time and energy, and then you have nothing left to give anyone, let alone yourself. So your health is most important, but make that a priority now, and it's a good time to really uh, let go of the habits and activities that aren't working for you. Clear your schedule so you can focus your energy constructively. um, Virgo, then Libra. Libra, it's all about love and romance and creativity in your heart. Um, even children. So pay attention to how these things are playing out for you, and it's a matter of you being now reconnecting with your inner child and being honest with yourself and aligning your head and heart, rather listening to your heart, because you can't analyze your heart. The heart feels what it feels. At best, you can communicate and express yourself. But first, it's about being honest with your own desires. Um, Scorpio, this is in your fourth house, so this is about your home, family, sense of community, belonging, where you live, stuff coming up around your living situation, perhaps living arrangements with domestic partners, and again, your family, whether blood or soul, and your sense of security, financially, emotionally. It would be a good time to look back to past childhood patterns, so you can leave them behind in the past, and as you build this new life from the ground up. Sagittarius, this is in your third house, so it's all about communication. It's all about your mind, communication. Meditation would be great. Uh, this is about questioning what you believe, who you believe, and why you believe them, and what you believe is true, and how you communicate with others, um, and how you listen to others as well. So double check all of your communication and emails, of course. But this is really a chance to renegotiate important arrangements so they work better for you. And there could be, really inspiring ideas that you're having now. So it's about keeping your mind open. Uh, Sagittarius, then Capricorn. Capricorn, second house. This is about money, finances, values, your deeper commitments, and yeah, as I mentioned, values, who and what you value and why, and most importantly, how do you value yourself? So your self-worth and self-esteem, because that's what will attract the resources and commitments and relationships in your life, is your own self-worth. So it's not about how much money you have in the bank, but it's moving beyond even the material physical values for your intangible values. Um, then we have, sorry, there was something else I was thinking about. Then we have Capricorn, and finally, well, not finally, Aquarius. Aquarius, this is in your first house. So this is a re-identification process. This is a process of, my hair is a mess, of re-identification and examining your beliefs. You're finding your voice again, but you're also in a process of questioning who you are at the core. A lot has happened over the last year, and now as the planets gather in Aquarius, it's important for you to know where you stand and what you believe and why you believe it. And so think of this as a process of re identification and a deeply introspective process over the next month. And then finally, Pisces. Pisces, this is in your 12th house, and your 12th house is all about the unseen part of you. I mean, it's you're a naturally psychic sign, and your psychic senses are buzzing now. So pay attention to your dreams. Meditation will be very helpful. Time spent in isolation will be helpful. But there's a lot going on in your subconscious now, and it's important that that you deal with this consciously and pay attention to what's coming through. Uh, but this would be a great time to isolate and work on creative projects that have been, you've put on the back burner, and really find the time and space to do that. Uh, but if you feel like you can't sleep at night and there's just too much activity, remember to shut off devices before bed, at least an hour before bed, and that'll help. And that's Pisces. I went on way longer than I expected, but here you have it. I wasn't planning on doing the 12 signs. And since I got into the other signs a little deeper, I'll circle back to Aries and say, this is in your social network. So your community is expanding, and there's a lot of, you're making new connections, and you're connecting with new people, but it's also a time, you could be reconnecting with old friends, and this is a chance to perhaps clear up any old lingering misunderstandings that you've had, uh, and clear the air if necessary. And you're also learning what friendship means to you and what you need from your friends. So, again, communication with your friends, community is definitely highlighted now. But all right, I went on way longer than I expected, but thank you for watching. And sorry, my hair was a mess, but I did not want to break my flow. I just kept going. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. So do subscribe at YouTube. That way you'll, have them in your inbox as I make them. But, and I'll be back with you with more. And sign up at Cosmic Diaries for my newsletter. I'll send that out weekly with updates. But bye for now, and catch you again soon.